I'd like to welcome you guys to our December school board meeting. Virginia, if you could call this meeting to order, and could you take roll call, please?
Stacy Anderson.
Here.
John Larson.
Here.
Lemista Schultz.
Here.
Kelly Boyer.
Is you guys
here?
Grant Clark.
Here.
Okay. I will lead the pledge, and followed by the invocation given by Mr. Larson.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful to be here this evening. We're grateful for the opportunity to serve on this board, and ask that thou would guide and direct us, that we might be able to choose the correct way and correct actions that will best benefit our children and all of our stakeholders. We are grateful for our teachers, for their efforts in behalf of our students. We're grateful for our students and for their hard work and efforts at learning the lessons that have been prepared for them. And we would ask for a blessing upon them, upon their minds, that they will be able to understand and be able to keep with them the lessons that are prepared, and that they might be successful in their futures. We're grateful for parents and ask for blessing upon them as they manage their homes and their households and their families. We ask for that guidance in the name of Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, I'll ask for approval of the agenda, item 4.1.
So motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 5.1, approval of meeting minutes for our November board meeting, three of our November board meetings and our December 7th special board meeting.
I move to approve the meeting minutes as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 6.1, ratification of expense and payroll vouchers, tax credits, and activity accounts. Mrs. Beecroft?
Yes, so for your review and approval tonight, we have all of the activity from accounts payable, payroll, and then activity account current balances since our last meeting.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Any call to the audience, Virginia? No? Okay. Item 8.1, Whipple Ranch music. Mrs. Shapatello.
What's in that stocking? What could it be? I have a feeling it's something for me. Could it be a puppy? Could it be a bike? This is something wonderful, something I might like. What's in the stocking? What could it be? I have a feeling it's something for me. There's just one way to find out what's inside. Let's eat.
Lucas from Whipple Red Elementary, and we holiday performance. They did an amazing job.
You guys sound awesome. Can we take a picture with you guys? Can we come down there?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Virginia. Virginia, come to the center.
Thank you guys. Thanks, Heidi.
So cute.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Can't believe I missed it though. Can't believe I missed the stuff. That's the reason to do the job.
Absolutely.
Okay, item 8.2, the superintendent report, Mr. St. John.
Okay, thank you, guys. I also wanted to recognize a few people, and I just have a real short, actually, kind of, I guess we'd almost call that a State of the Union for the district. It's very short. But I did receive some information regarding WMI and Mrs. Durbin and some of her students. A real cool picture of them that was sent to me by a mother saying, hey, this is really cool. And I thought, I'm going to share that. And then I started thinking, there's a lot of things to share, actually. But they had spent some time with the backpack buddies, doing a bunch of those, hundreds of those, and then cleaning the room afterwards and all that. So a shout out to those guys. Certainly want to recognize Mrs. Cynthia Whipple and her students and the Feast of Carols. I went on Wednesday. It's awesome. What a major, major production. As I mentioned here, the logistics are just kind of staggering to me. And it was just so excellent. But, over 100 of her kids in the high school and junior high choir programs. Bill Crawford's culinary class did the food. There were 4 young little guys, elementary kids that they needed that were cute as heck too, as a part of the program. Mr. Marshall Pratt and some of his kids. I met the accompanist, Mrs. Amanda Bailey. What a sweetheart she is. And she does that all volunteer. Carson Celine was the staging director. I don't want to miss anybody here. I'll probably miss somebody no matter what I do. But Justin Lewis is the director of servers. Just, I don't know how they do that without a lot more time. So it was just really an amazing production, real cool thing. So shout out to those guys. And then I thought about, how are we doing for the first semester? And so I really think we're doing a really, really good job. Overall, I like the work ethic of everybody. I like the outcomes that I see are good. So if you look back and with orientation, what's important to me, and there's kind of those 5 areas that I feel make an effective school system, and we kind of call that the Cougar Way. I don't know if you remember those areas. But when I look at those, and we want to focus on our academic standards and those student outcomes, those are a part of our goals. We're working on those. We're going to get a lot better as we move along with those and start to actually, I think, present more of that to you as well. But I feel really good about the effort that we're making in that area. In fact, I just met with some of the new teachers and the dean, some of the deans actually. There's a couple of them that are the longest standing teachers at Nicholas. And really all the discussion was, I want to see how things are going. And really what they were talking about is student outcomes and time, and having some frustrated a little bit if kids aren't there and they can't teach them, and how we go about our Fridays. And one actually was like, man, we need more days even. So I'm like, it's really interesting to talk to. So they're they understand that for them to be successful, our students have to be successful. So they're making that connection, which is really good. I've seen excellent collaboration. Really, I think that's very strong within Show Low Unified. So I'm happy about that. The love of kids is clear. We're just doing, I think, a very good job. So of course we can get better. Of course we're looking at continual improvement and setting goals. And we know we have some weaknesses. But overall, I really think we're doing good. I'm certainly happy and proud of where we're at. You know, this is my 6th month, right? So I haven't been here too long, but long enough now to have, I think, a pretty good feel for what's going on. So I'm very happy that way. Facilities, remember we passed that capital plan. It was that about 2 months ago now, I believe. And so I did get the feedback back from the Arizona School Facilities Oversight Board. They don't quite agree with my numbers. So they're not recommending, the meeting's actually December 15th, and they said that could change and keep sending us information. I actually contacted the city manager, Ed Mutter, and said, hey, Ed, could you help me out? Aren't we growing? Isn't you know, yeah, I got some information. So, because they say, well, send us documentation. I'm like, well, what does that mean? I don't even know. But I feel like, and from my informal conversations and just feet on the ground and being here, that we're growing. Plus, the numbers really do show that. Now, I sent in enrollment numbers. They do ADM, and ADM is your calculation for kids that are actually here every day. So it's more of an average. So it's bound to be a little bit lower. But even if you looked, which I sent you the information, I don't know if you were able to kind of go through that. But the graph with the high school shows us growing at not quite the rate that I do. And then it actually shows us going down. I'm like, how is that even possible? Frankly, I feel as though their model, which is, of course, they have to have a model, is not flawed or anything, but I think the input, of course, is important. So I do plan to actually go down and meet with them and discuss the information that they have in regards to enrollment, square footage, gather more information in terms of what I see as growth, and just feet on the ground. And the reality of what I see as the situation is we have a need. We have a need really to build a new school within a few years. So they didn't see that based on their information. You can see where theirs is in there, ours is in there, and then there's that benchmark. Well, the capacity benchmark level, you need to be over that in order for them to say we're going to build something new. So even with Snowflake's information, they show them growing, and so they have one building, I believe, that they're going to recommend, and they may get built. It's not an entire school, but it's an add-on. And I feel like, well, we should probably match that, if not even be more so. So I just feel like there's something missing in regards to the information that we're providing right now with the capital plan that we passed a few months ago. So I need to go find out what that is and meet with them. And even based on my own experience, that makes a huge difference. You know, where we had a grant that had all that stuff in there and we didn't get the money. It was way back during the American Recovery Act funding that came out in 2008. And I went down there and I met with, it happened to be a gal that I had taught anyway from years ago. But we had all in there, but we needed it where they wanted it. So we just had to kind of cut and paste and put it where they wanted it. And then sure enough, we had a pretty large grant to redo our kitchen facility. So kind of frustrating because we had the right stuff. We just did it. There was just something missing. So we have to find out a little bit more what the model is that board uses. Because I really feel like it's just not matching what I'm seeing. Unless they want us really busting at the seams before they're willing to, you know, to make that decision, to make that recommendation. So hopefully you get better news down the road. But right now they're saying we're fine, we're good, you know. So I really feel like that's going to change somewhere down the road. And they said that it can change. It's just a matter of looking at the information and maybe their standards or whatever the data that they have in their model will change too. So I think, Stacey, you would even notice a little bit, well, we don't have, what was the name of those?
Oh, they still have Clay Springs.
There was definitely some misinformation that they have. That they have about our district. So we need to get that straightened out. I need to go meet with them and get that straightened out. We're looking in, and we're for sure going to do something to continue to help with our security and safety with the door security enhancements, but we're a ways away from that. You would notice, though, that the security camera system is on the agenda today. Looking at the marquees, so we have somebody looking at those. I was looking at 5, but the more we think about it, we just don't have a great place for the high school anyway, so we might put just kind of one that matches that, redo just the plastic thing with the junior high, because that's a cool sign and it's got a neat stone base and foundation. So we don't want to lose that, but just maybe redo the plastic part, but do it, and then do one sign that might even be sort of on that land right where the business office is going to be, but somewhere on that spot would be maybe even just a little bit bigger marquee, and that can kind of suffice for the junior high and the high school. But we will redo the one for Whipple and the one at Nicholas. We will use the foundation at Nicholas as well. So it'll look good. If you wanted to, it could look just like it does now, really. But it'll be LED, so you can actually put information on there. So it's going to enhance and help our ability to communicate with our community too. And then the same thing with one out at Linden. So that'll be good. I'm hoping to have that on the agenda in December. So I can show you more about what those will look like. So it'll be a little cheaper because we'll do one less. I was budgeted for 5. Pardon?
Do you mean January? You said you hope to have it in December, but this is December.
Oh, there you go. That's
January?
old age right there, Lamista. Yes, sorry. In January. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and then the business office is coming along. We're planning to probably be able to get into that at the end of the school year. But it should look like it's really coming along here shortly because the cement's been poured, and once they start, putting up walls, that can seem like that goes pretty fast. But then once those are up, then it slows down again because there's a lot to get done. And so the final thing that they'll probably do is the parking lot, pour that cement, and that'll have to be a little warmer. So, I'm guessing it'll be kind of once we get to the end of the school year in June, and that's their estimate as well as far as the deadlines or completion date for the business office. I did share a little bit of information that received from Director Beth Marsh in regards to the Medicaid, and you can see that that's going along good. So that's going to be great. That's going to be nice funding that will help out the district going forward. So they're doing a fantastic job. I know Krista Sloan and Director Marsh has said she's really good at doing that. So that's coming along well. So that's good news. And then we have the quarterly minimum of our safety committee that's meeting under the chairmanship of Dr. Rask. And so you can see the minutes there. There's a few more things. We're actually going to start looking at a active shooter scenario, more the practical learning that you can get from that kind of effort. We'll be working with the city to get that planned. The one thing that I noticed isn't on here that we do have an issue with, and you're probably aware of this, but with our cellular phones and being able to communicate with each other. I didn't realize it was kind of maybe everywhere, but for sure I understood that from a number of, from Dr. Rask, from our counselors there, from the office and Mr. Marchant, that there's he doesn't get, I can't call him on a cell phone. So that's definitely a safety issue. So I have contacted Cellular One and Verizon in hopes of remedying that situation. Not just at the high school, although that was what I thought was the main problem. It really is, at least at Nicholas for sure, and so it's other places too. I don't know if that's gotten a little worse for some reason when they went to that 5G, but some people have told me all of a sudden we kind of updated or upgraded, right? So that's supposed to be better, but
I think it's been worse.
It seems like it's gotten worse. It's gotten worse. So that's an issue that we need to rectify as best possible too. So I'm looking into maybe they'll do a tower or something like that, or I don't know what other options there even are. I'm not technically smart enough to understand how to fix the cell phone thing, but I'm contacting those people to try to remedy that. So I think that's it.
Thank you. Item 9.1, security camera project. Back to you, Mr. St. John.
Yeah, so you have that information there, and Mrs. Angela Garcia from CAMNet is here also. So we talked about doing a presentation, but we didn't think that was necessary. So she's really here. She drove all the way here from Albuquerque. She's a wealth of knowledge in regards to this, to security cameras. And so I've been really impressed working with her in regards to this project. If we can, there's a couple of things that are hard to figure out exactly, and that there is a license to, and this is pretty common anymore with this project. And so every year we either have to budget for that, and it gets a little cheaper if you do it for longer. So I would like the board to actually approve the 10-year license. That's gonna, so we go from about 627,000 to about 879,000. We believe we can make that happen with the ESSER money. However, there's a caveat there a little bit that maybe we can't. And then if it's approved though by you, we're going to try to do that. And if we can't, then we'll just do the project at the 1-year license. And there's a real good opportunity to find some more grant money, which would include doing our doors and sensors and security, and can complete those licenses. Otherwise, it will come out of the ESSER. So Mrs. Ramsey said there's some question about after 2024 that money has to be spent, and so you can't have ongoing licenses. I said, well, this isn't ongoing; it's a one-time deal, and we're done. So I feel like we're okay on that end. Plus, we're drawing a little bit of money out of those other areas that I had shown with you last November. We have to steal a little money out of those budget line items, which was the doors, a little bit of painting, those kind of things, in order to just completely have the project done and up and running with high technology and just the way we want it. And we don't have to budget for that every year because it'll probably go up. I'm assuming, right? Seems like things go up. So those licenses won't be the same probably from now over the next 10 years. So we'll have to put that into our budget. I would prefer not to do that. And at the end of 10 years, then you've gotten a pretty good use of technology. You're probably having to upgrade anyway, if that makes sense. So
that was actually one of my questions, is what we can expect for how long these cameras will last and how long they're warranted for.
If I'll just answer that because I know it. So there's a 10-year warranty, which is an extremely high warranty. But you want to?
No, that's exactly right. Most camera.
Would you mind coming up here?
Thank you. Most camera manufacturers offer between a 2 and 3, maybe a 5-year warranty. With the Verkada solution, they offer a 10-year warranty, and that's also why they offer the 10-year license option. Because that's pretty much the life of, and you'll probably get a little longer, but that's the life of any good security system. And so if you are able to somehow make it work to get the licensing for the 10-year time frame, then it's done. You don't have to think about any additional costs throughout that time. And they're all warranted, and it's a very easy system. If something were to go bad, you have your maintenance guys pull it down, send it out. Comes in next day, it's overnight service, and then they can just pop it back up.
Is it hardwired or is it wireless?
These are all hardwired.
Okay.
And so it's a very reliable system. They won't utilize any additional wireless bandwidth on that system. They'll be hardwired in using category cable, Cat6 cable.
Okay. And how long does it take to install at all the schools and campuses?
It's going to be a big project. There's nearly 200 cameras. I think it's 183 or 185 cameras. So it's going to take between 2 and 3 months. It's going to be a big project, but we'll just work school by school based on what makes sense. You guys are the guide on this. And so we'll go through and go school by school and get them all installed. And it'll be, we'll have a large crew out here working so that we can have as little impact to you guys as possible.
Will our administrators have access on their phones?
The system is great. It's a cloud-based system, which is different than the old-time on-prem DVR system. So this is a cloud-based system that whoever the school district deems necessary will have access on their phone, their iPad, their desktop computer. However you access the internet, you'll be able to access the command center is what they call it. It's great. You can send video, view video, add changes. It's just a great system. It's very easy to use.
Is there a limit on the number of people that can?
No,
whoever we decide needs it.
No, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that because nobody ever asked that question. So instead of it being licensed by users, like maybe Microsoft or some of those kind of subscription-based things, this is based on cameras, and you can have as many users as you want. And then you're also allowed to designate the type of access that everybody has. So maybe your superintendent, your principals, Your security need full access. Your IT department, they probably all need full access. Maybe you have a front desk admin person who just needs viewing access. They maybe don't need to send video. They just need to be able to view video. So you can set it up so that everybody gets the proper access. Maybe school A doesn't need access to school B. Those two will be completely separate. So it's very, you can target it exactly to how you want it set up.
Okay. Do you have any more questions, Brant or Lamista?
No, I don't.
No?
You paid the money. Yeah.
Kelly, do you have any questions?
No, I do not.
Question.
Thank you.
You don't? I'm sorry, Kelly. They took your picture off, but Kelly, Mrs. Boyer is here with Zoom. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming all the way over here.
Oh, of course. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
If we're ready, I'll motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any further discussion?
Is the motion for the 10-year, is that what we're paying for the 800,000? Is that what
Yeah,
that was
well,
for?
we need to do that.
Yeah.
We
The
just
entire
try to
amount.
make that
I
happen.
would
if
like
we
to try
can.
to do that. I think that's wise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can all make that happen.
I agree.
That would be really nice.
To not have to pay anymore.
Right, yeah.
I mean, we're using
Really.
one-time funds and
Okay. Thanks, you guys. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Item 9.2, classified personnel. We have, is it Mickey Lewis at Linden, paraprofessional in the library, and Deja Mossy at Whipple Ranch, sped professional. For your approval.
I'll move to approve.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Sorry, Kelly. Motion passes. Item 9.3, certified personnel. I'm pretty excited, you guys, all the time.
I cried happy tears.
I'm excited all the time, but I know these are big needs we have. So we welcome Brittany, is it Clore? Whipple Ranch Elementary kindergarten teacher, Crystal Dyer, Nicholas Homestead, 4th grade teacher. I believe she was already our long-term sub, and she's going to take on the rest of the year. Erica Perez, Linden Elementary. She was has been a paraprofessional out there, and she's right now doing her student teaching. So that's really cool that she gets to work under all those great teachers. And Miss Janelle Huey, Whipple Ranch K2 behavioral teacher. So I entertain those for your approval.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any further discussion?
No, just that I'm really happy.
Me too. Motion passes.
Me three.
Yep. Item 9.4, after school tutors. This is kind of a evolving list all the time.
I'll move to approve it. I think.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody? Motion passes. Item 9.5, longevity stipends. Sorry guys, my computer's a little slow here.
Oh, I'm just going to make the comment again because I keep commenting every time, but at some point I want to actually look into this. I really feel we should look at the longevity stipends and work at what our system is, because I feel like there's so many people who work for the district, then for one reason or another have to leave. Maybe, and especially women, frankly, they might have to take a step aside for having young children, or there might be a health crisis in their family, or just something going on where they take a step away, and then a few years later they come back, and it's as if they don't get to pick up where they left off. They start from scratch on earning towards the longevity stipend. And I would like it if we could do something to kind of be able to accumulate that time together, because I think it makes a difference that they when they decided to go back to work, they decided to come here. Mm-hmm. You know, so I would like to at some point look at something like that.
I can make sure that the budget committee has that on their agenda.
Have it on your radar, because I think it would be, I think it makes sense. It would feel equitable to me to recognize that life is complicated and that we should be rewarding people if they leave and come back. Mm-hmm.
I concur.
We don't need to do that today, obviously, but just I'm going to keep saying it.
Yep. I agree.
But I'll motion to approve these stipends as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 9.6, activities personnel. We have our head wrestling coach, Scott Robinson, at the high school, wrestling assistant, Ryan Bryan, high school wrestling, William John, and wrestling assistant, Alan Foster, for your approval.
I move to approve the coaches as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 9.7, food service employee hours revisions. Vanessa, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so with the recent changes in our food service program, we are going out, we're completing the RFP. It's a very lengthy RFP. It's about 80 pages, so it's taking a little time to compile and be very thorough. In the meantime, we have tried to expand the food choice options for the kids. I know they're excited about it. If they don't like the hot option that's being served, they can get a PB&J, for example. So it's taking more prep time. And some of the gals, they're putting a lot of effort into it. So we're just needing to approve the additional hours.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 9.8, minimum wage increase. Mrs. Beecroft.
Every year, as you know, in January, the state of Arizona increases the minimum wage. It is tied to inflation. So for Arizona, we're actually in the top 10 in the nation for highest minimum wage. In January, it will increase to $13.85. So we've had a lot of discussion and a lot of prep, even from last year when it increased quite significantly, about trying to address compression with the other staff, because if you're giving a certain portion of people $1, but you might happen to be over by 25 cents, you didn't get the dollar. So a lot of time and effort was spent on how to address compression and to really show that we value our classified staff. We're recommending that we increase all of the classified staff, with the exception of the bus drivers who just moved, the $1.05. So that would move everyone. It would increase the people that are below minimum wage to the $13.85, but it would extend the $1.05 to all classified staff. So we're happy that we're in a position financially to do that. I would just like to acknowledge that, excuse me, the aggregate expenditure limit is still out there. So we are very cognizant of that. And if it does happen, we do have some contingency plans. It will hurt. I mean, it's $3.7 million. So there's really nothing we can do to, I guess, prevent that. If it does happen, we do have measures that we will take, but it will basically take all of our extra reserve to do that, which it would most districts. But there are other districts in the region that are doing the same raise for all their classified staff. So to be competitive and to keep the staff, I really feel strongly that I would still recommend that.
I really appreciate the time and effort you put into this, and I'm glad that we're able to do that. So thank you for budgeting to the point where we can do this, because I really do agree that it's the right thing to be doing. So thank you.
So do I. I just watched the board meeting from a Valley school with them trying to scramble right now to cut $14 million. And I'm not really sure how they had that oversight in their budget, but I'm glad we're not in that position. So thank you. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minimum wage adjustments effective January.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion and second the raises.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, motion passes. Item 9.9, Prop 301 Classroom Site Fund, December payment. Vanessa?
So along with this is our first payment for the Prop 301 for our certified staff. Attached is the exact percentage for each certified staff. And it would basically give them their first $1,000 of the Classroom Site Fund performance money.
I'll move to approve Prop 301 expenditure.
I second.
On favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 9.10, attendance stipends. Mrs. Beecroft?
As you guys are aware, the district does approve attendance stipends. These are the equivalent of, I guess, the Classroom Site Fund payout for classified staff. They are staggered according to hours and the number of days that staff work.
I'll move to approve the attendance stipends.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Kelly, you are aye.
I'm an aye, yes.
Okay, motion passes. Item 9.11, approval of new PTSO at the junior high. For your approval?
There's high school.
Oh, sorry guys, at the high school. I'm excited to see him at the junior high and the high school.
Yeah.
Because I feel like those teachers get forgotten when they leave the elementary schools. So I'm sorry, approval at the high school.
I'll move to approve the Shola High School PTO and thank Jill Stoddard, Jessica Raymond, and Rhonda Sanders, and all those else who are involved in that project. That's great.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 913, sole source vendor, Mrs. Beecroft.
912, you skipped.
Oh my gosh. 912, fundraising activities. And it's for the Shola High School new PTSO.
I'll move to approve. They're already hitting the ground running.
They did it, I think.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Great.
I
They're
think it
already doing
happened.
it.
They're already on their way.
I know. That's great for them. They're invigorated. That's awesome. I'll move to approve.
Second.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Item 913, sole source.
Can I
Yeah,
ask
go ahead.
Do PTOs have to submit? Did they have to do that because they weren't? I thought since PTOs aren't part of the district funds, they don't have to submit for their fundraisers because they're a separate organization. Did they have to do this because they're not?
They're a brand new.
Yeah, is that why? But PTSOs don't usually need to be approved for the fundraisers.
They do their annual. They turn
Accounting.
in their
Right.
annual accounting.
Like we still coordinate with them.
Right, but we don't approve
no.
them every month the way we do the ones from the schools. Okay, I just want to be clear.
Okay. Now we're on 913, sole source vendor.
So for your review and approval, we have an additional sole source vendor, Woodburn Press, which is also going to be utilized by, I believe it's our CTE department. So it's there for your review. They did submit the letter. This is for booklets. It looks like Move On When Reading materials.
A motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Motion passes. Item 914, out-of-state travel. Can you click on that? I'm sorry. Mine isn't keeping up. I believe this is for Mr. Pratt for his trip to Utah for the honors band. For your approval.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
On favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 915, approval of gifts and donations from the White Mountain Kids Winter Coats donations. And which school are they donating those to?
Looks like the high school.
High school?
I'll move to approve the gifts and donations as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Motion passes. Item 916, district superintendent contract. I'll entertain a motion at this time to move into executive session.
Also motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we're going to move into executive session and we'll come back out when we're done.
Can Kelly come with us back there?
Yeah.
Back out here. False advertising.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to move out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Item 9.16, district superintendent contract. I'll entertain a motion to extend Mr. St. John's contract through June of 2024, June 30th, 2024, and ask for direction for the board president to talk to our attorney to renew his contract.
I'll move. I guess I'll clarify. I will move to empower our board president to work with our legal counsel to offer Mr. St. John's a contract extension for 1 year above and beyond what he has. And then to, you guys agree to that they will deliver that contract to Mr. St. John's for him to sign.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed?
Aye. Nay. Norma.
Any further discussion? Okay, motion,
Thank you, Mr. St. John.
yep, motion passes. Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys. Thank you.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.